This is a section that you don't usually get to see when I do these videos, because this is really a working area and a storage area. I'm showing you this because today I've been working in this area practically all day. I've been potting on and tidying up some of the grasses, and then I've been actually removing lots of dead plants, to be honest. I've had a bit of a bad season, really. All these pots that you see there, every one of those pots had a plant in them that is no longer with us, dead. I think there's about best part of, I don't know, 60 plants, maybe 70. Anyway, we won't worry about that. But I tend to store my pots away here. This is a little shed I've got. I'm going to put a tin roof on this, and you can see there's some mineral felt has blown off at the minute, but I'm not worried about it. I'm going to put some tin on it, as I just said, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, so I'll come around here. The stone on the floor, I'm actually going to create some sort of path here. So when I dig some of the cobbles, some of the chalk out of the garden, I tend to put them into piles. So I've now started pouring them on here. So I'll create some sort of a path. This is the back end of the orchard. I don't show you as well. Very rarely come up here. That's quite nice, and I love this. This is Anthriscus sylvestris, and it's just the native cow parsley. Don't forget, I'm in the UK, and it is now May, and today has been probably the best day for a long time. I've really enjoyed it today, but my back is absolutely killing me at the minute. Yeah, so this bit of a messy area, really. And when I dig out new borders, I've been sticking them here, sticking the turf, here, off of those borders. And then the big hole that you can see where the wheelbarrow is, that's just soil that's broken down, or turf that's broken down. I've reused it. In fact, I reused it in the cow drinkers, or the cow feeders. I've got 3 wheelbarrows. This one shouldn't have anything in it at all. This has got 2 wheels, this wheelbarrow, but it's probably the worst wheelbarrow I've ever bought. I don't know if you find interest in wheelbarrows at all. I try and find the bigger ones. So that one there is rubbish. It's got 2 wheels on it, and the tyres have both gone down on it. It's rubbish. This one is plastic. Don't buy plastic ones. That's what happens when you forget and you throw rocks into them. I still use it a lot. And then this one here, I've had this since 2004. And that very wheelbarrow there was on the show with me on BBC Gardener of the Year. And it came home with me. Not that they know. Well, they probably do if they're watching this. But I took that with me. Anyway, it's here now, and it's been with me a long time. So this is really at the back end of Grassy Bottom now, so you get a good view from up here and some nice views. And it's lovely. I love this orchardy little bit. I don't really do out in it. I just leave some of it for wildlife. In fact, there's a robin up in that tree. There it goes. Yeah, so I don't do a lot here, but I put all this clippings from the Corylus here in hope that we'd get some wildlife taking up residence, and who knows, maybe there's some hedgehogs under there. I don't know. I did find a mother and a baby last year wandering around the garden. I often wonder whether it spent some time in there. I hope it did, because that's what I did it for. Yeah, so that's my working area. It's kind of a nursery, a plant nursery really, for myself. It's for the garden, and if anybody comes, so sometimes I have the garden open, well, when I do for the garden clubs, then I try and have a few plants to sell, because everybody wants to buy a plant from you. It's a bit of a slope on here, because a lot of Grassy Bottoms are slope, so it slopes towards the left downwards. It's a bit of a nightmare, really. I said I was going to get a load of what do they call those? Those wooden things. Anyway, them things, and I was going to wooden pallets, and I was going to put them onto legs and straighten it. And I really do need to do that because it really is a nightmare trying to place these things sometimes. This is you'll have to come with me. I've just realised a mistake that you shouldn't make is forget to turn off your main tap. I've just spotted that tap's leaking. That can be quite an expensive leak. It's not leaking, I've left it switched on. What's that resolved? Right, the reason I'm bringing you here is I want to show you this. This is Rhus glabra lanceolata, and I really do like this one. Most people know Typhina, which is the ordinary one, and this is a little bit better. That's an old flower there that I really need to take off. Don't need that flower. It don't really need that. And it's just got this lovely shape. As you can see, it's only about 4 foot at the minute, 3 foot actually. This at the moment is this lovely shape. Part of that's down to me because I've been pruning it just as I want it. And what I spotted today was a little bit of a new one growing underneath it, and this is one of the problems with these. These are very, very invasive as far as growing out of themselves is concerned, and they send up suckers, so it's a suckering shrub or small tree, and it suckers everywhere, and this is its 3rd year in now, so I was expecting to find something at this point, and I did. I spotted it. I actually weeded under there this morning. Well, you can see there's still a lot of weeds, but I got the big ones out, and that's when I spotted it. So instead of wasting it, because I love them, I love those, I've took the opportunity to lift it because it's relatively easy to do. It will have the roots attached if you do it yourself, and that one has. And I've just put it into a plant pot and left it alone. So I've got a bit of a miscanthus collection going on the top of that wall over there. And then I've got a load more down here. And I've decided that the bigger miscanthus are going to be kept in larger pots. So over time I'm going to put them into larger pots and try and display them like that, rather than putting them all in the garden, because I just haven't got the space. Well, I have, but I'd have to take lots and lots of other plants out, and I don't want to do that. I want to actually preserve some of the garden how it is. I've done this today. Now this border, I talked about this the other day, and that border shape seems a little bit odd, doesn't it? It seems a bit weird. Now that's not just because I wanted to create a weird border, that is because when I mow the grass, this becomes a problem. So don't forget, when I walk down here, and I walk round here, that's what I get. So I have to be careful because this gap isn't huge. So I've left that border at that side just a little bit skinnier than further along. And that's to accommodate the mower and the fact that I have to walk in and out and carry stuff in and out this section. We've got some nice bits going on now. I like it now because I've actually made it slightly deeper. And it's likely to get even deeper than this, but I've got to be careful not to make it too big, because at the end of the day this does have to be a way into this area. So it's looking quite nice, and I've just dotted little bits and bobs in. There's the bamboo there I put in, and then there's a grass, and then there's plants that you forget about, this being one of them. This is Actaea, and it's Actaea racemosa. That's the middle one of those. And I forgot all about this, and then there was a load of weeds again in here, and the weeds had, well, they were out competing everything, so I pulled them all out and then exposed that. So I was pleased to find that. I bought it last year, but completely forgot it was there. There's other bits and bobs. So I've got this Miscanthus in there. That's Professor Richard Hanson. A tall, skinny one, that one. I'm hoping it does well this year. I'm not too sure because last year it was terrible. It's not really in the right place. It really needs moving. But it'll remain there for now. This is Cirsium tuberosum. It don't look much at the minute, but it's a thistle. And it's kind of a wild looking one. Very wild. And it's a bit floppy, and it can get to 6-7 foot and then just suddenly get blown over by the wind. But if you can go in the right area, which is possibly in sun in a corner where it's protected a bit more, it's great. But it's a British native that's becoming quite rare, so I keep it just because I don't want it to disappear completely. I'm not the only one with it, obviously. Lots of people have it. This is that Acer Capticodium, if you remember, Aurea. Look at it, it's stunning. I love it. I'm so pleased I spotted it before it was too late. And I'm so pleased I didn't chop it in half, because I nearly did through the winter. I nearly cut the main trunk in half, and I didn't in the end. So that's Elaeagnus quicksilver. A really, really useful shrub that can be made to be a small tree with correct pruning. And that's what I'm intending to do here, because I want that to come over there, and I want to be able to walk underneath it eventually. I don't want to have to duck down, so it'll be pruned accordingly. I'm trying to think whether this is that Lythrum. I think it's Lythrum. I've got the label. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We've got the label for it. Oh. No, I can't see it. I think it's a Lythrum speciosum. I'm not 100% sure. That label's faded. It's a shame. But I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And it is quite nice when it gets going. It can be a runner, so I have to be wary of that. And we've got a rose, which is a wild rose. I love these types of roses. And this is a Rosa rugosa. It's the pink one rather than the white one. And it's a lovely scent, and they make great edges. So if you're looking for a hedge that has lots of roses, that's the one. Or lots of rose flowers, that's the one you want to be looking for, Rosa rugosa. And it'll get to about, I don't know, 5-6 foot. And you can clip it, you can cut it back like a hedge, and it'll repeat flower for you. Very, very, very spiny though. If we get close in there, you can see the spines. It is so thorny. But it looks good in a native edge. In the UK, we tend to plant lots of native edges, and we put different species in. And that one there would look good within that set. So we'll just take a little wander around the garden. I'll not do too much of a tour on this video, but we'll see what's going on. So I've had a little mulch around today and just potted around really. Like I say, I spent most of the day in the nursery area, but I've managed to get the grass cut. Lovely day. Aquilegia is just still looking fantastic. I honestly have never ever seen them get that tall before. It's really coming on a tree now. Oh, Take that rubbish away. Yeah, so this is looking really nice still. Hamish is chasing flies. I've actually renamed him Renfield because he seems to like bugs and he seems to like eating them. Don't you, mate? So this is looking really nice. I've not done the brickwork yet, as you can see. I am going to do that. I've got one or two ideas, fresh ideas for it that I'm going to do to it at the beginning and at the end that I want to include. So I'm just giving it a bit of thought at the moment. Again, I always try and delay if I can creating things too quickly because you do have changes as you go along, and I try and get those changes before I commit to it. So I think about it a lot. This is the Carl Forster border. And it seems to be Hamish's favourite place to sit around in, and I often find him asleep in there now. He loves it. Persicary. I know it as Polymorpha. I think it's also known as Alpina. I think both names are accepted, so you can call it either. The white flowers are coming out and it's getting taller by the day. In fact, it's probably a third bigger again since last time I did a video. And it's looking really nice. There's some of my containers waiting to receive the plants. Not done that yet. There's Franken bin. I've now taken out the Sorbus. I'm going to have some rethinking on that as to what I'm going to put in. The deck's looking good. My neighbour gave me these today. They're not really my kind of thing, really, and I'm sure Des will be watching this. They're not really my thing, but here it is. They're a bit too blousy for me, a bit too bright and brash, but they're okay. The floating deck just looks stunning now. Absolutely beautiful. And it's doing what I hoped it would do, which is provide me a place to sit when the sun's shining. And I've sat at that quite a lot today. Had a few cups of tea at that. Now, this is the corrugated tin that I showed you. There you go. I've planted it up. And that's Yucca rostrata, and it just looks great. I think that looks fantastic. I made that myself and had the top and bottom welded. And that looks good, looks nice. This area just continues to get better and better on a daily basis. And it's it's only been here, what, 2 months? The cow feeders. So it's looking really nice. I do like this. This is that viola. It's a beauty, that. It's really, it looks purple through this lens, but it's actually a really vivid blue. It's looking nice, that. This is where I've put the Sorbus, the little Cashmeriana. I've put it into this one now. I took the Yucca rostrata out of that and I put that in instead. And that's going to be in there for some time yet. I'll probably leave it in there a couple of years now. Let it grow. Let's see how big it grows, because it is growing bigger now, taller. And it is only a small type shrub. But it's doing all right. It's actually come on leaps and bounds in the last year and a bit. And again, that's down to Plant Grow UK mulch that I've added to it. Fantastic, looking really good. And there's the floating deck from this side. It's all starting to get there now. There's quite a few plants yet to come up and flower. Obviously, we're still fairly early, and we're definitely early for my type of gardening, because my garden is really a late season border, or the whole garden is a late season garden really, but obviously I have other stuff that comes up all the time. this continues to do well. That's Lamia movala, and I said that things are starting to fall away from it now, and the flowers are falling, but I've never seen it do this well, ever. Fantastic. And that's like a nettle. It's just type of a nettle. If you can get hold of that, it goes in any border really now. And I was surprised to see that garden centres are selling it now. I've had it for years and years myself, but I was pleased to see that they're selling it. It's Cornus Kousa. Every time I film it, flowers seem to be a little bit further on. I should say another month, and they'll be at their optimum size. I'll show you it again then when it does that. So this Cortaderia looks a little bit rough, but it's not. It's recovering quite well now, and that's Patagonia. It's recovering lovely. The GM Totally Tangerine, just absolutely full of flowers. And I just wish it was a little bit deeper, the colour. I like the deepness of that one, the closed up one, but then it goes to this colour, which is okay. It's okay. It's actually a little bit deeper than what it appears through the lens, but I wish it was just a little bit deeper, and I'd enjoy it a bit more. Cloister Pergola, it's looking good. Sun's going down now, so I'm getting all these blinding shots at the minute. This is another bamboo. So when I did the bamboo talk the other day, this is Zegu Fagicia, and this is the split I talked about taking off. Another big clump that I've got. Now Bruneras this year, and I've watched on social media, and everybody's Bruneras seem to be flowering and don't seem to want to stop flowering, and mine are no exception. And they just keep flowering, but look at the leaves now. I don't know if this is Sea Heart or Jack Frost. I honestly don't know, because I've got both. I really need to keep a closer look on the labels, and I complain about people losing the labels, and here I am, lost a few of mine. And as I've said before, I get pigeons in this garden, and I know they pull them out, which is very, very annoying, but can't do it about that. This is nice. This is Aphrium Ghost. I love it. Just gets better every day. Absolutely beautiful. It's not looking too bad at the minute. I've got to be careful of this one because this is a silver birch and it has the buff tip moth attack it at some point in the year, and I'm watching every day. I keep coming out and having a look, because if I don't, I'll come here one day and it'll be defoliated. They would have absolutely chewed the leaves away. I notice up there actually as I talk, you see that leaf there with lots of holes in. That's what I'm looking for. That's exactly what I'm looking for. That could be some other type of moth or caterpillar. Hopefully they'll not do it too much damage now, because it's getting mature now. So, and them leaves are quite a way on, and they tend to like them when they're a little bit smaller than that. Nevertheless, I will keep my eye on it, because I know from previous experience keeping these that they can decimate it within a very short time. I took these ferns the other day from a property where we was working, and they're old almshouses that we look after. And in these old houses, you tend to find that there's some old cultivars. And this is just a fern. I don't even know which one it is. I'm not sure. There's a couple here, about 3. And I just rescued them. It was in a drain, can you believe? It was just hanging in a drain. And the root system, the root zone must have been a foot on that one, hanging into the drain. And it was just hanging there on the side with its roots down inside the pipe. The roots were just hanging freely in the pipe as well. So it was totally reliant on any rainwater that was coming down. This looks brilliant, this euphorbia. I know I keep going on about this Euphorbia Excalibur. It really is a good one now. The roses are doing okay at the moment. And I said the other day that I was having to keep my eye out for green fly, and you can see, oh, you probably can't, you can see the green fly. They're actually in there. I do tend to rub them off. But they're growing so healthily now this year that the green fly are really having no impact on them at all, really, at the moment. I shouldn't speak too soon, because before we know it, they'll be decimating them. Yeah, they're definitely green fly. It's all over, you can see. Look at that. You've got to keep a close eye on that, because before you know it, they'll be taking over. We've had a lot of ladybirds early in the year, and where are they when you need them? They're not here. That's terrible. But it's looking so healthy now. Like I say, third year in, and that is doing so nice. You just got to be patient. And I'm not the most patient man at times, but you just have to learn to be patient, and then you're rewarded with this kind of look. And the flowers are about to come out. I think I spotted one earlier that looked like it was trying to come out. In fact, it is, but it's not so great. You tend to find that the first few buds kind of don't really come to anything. So I tend to pop them off, so they're not putting too much effort in. In fact, that whole section really needs to come off. It doesn't need to be there. I need to take that away. When I walk around the garden pruning up little bits and bobs, I shall set to and get rid of that. The Rheum palmatum, I think it's at its ultimate height with the flower now, and I worry now because once those flowers start turning into seed heads, which they effectively are now, then it can die back a bit, and I worry about that, so I need to probably chop them away once it does that. But it's looking really good, that border. Yeah, that's looking wonderful. This is the wildlife area. I'm not really going to talk about that today. Just this little area, really. It's a Cuba. These can look terrible at certain times of the year. And once the new stuff starts growing, it can either be burnt or it can just look terrible. The older leaves can look absolutely terrible, but they do come off quite easily. They will fall away once the new really gets going. And it probably would prefer a darker section, really, and I'd hoped that's where it was going to get here. But if it doesn't get enough shade, I could end up having to move that. That's something I'm just going to have to keep my eye on. You know, the leaves are okay, that's what they should do. I didn't really want it to see as many on there as that, as damaged. So this is the Cloister Pergola. Crazy cat. And I loved building this, and I just could go on and on and on building this, but I've had to stop myself because this could cover the whole garden if I allowed it to. I've had 2 or 3 other ideas with it to extend it again, but I'm resisting. I am resisting. I don't want to turn it into anything more than it already is, because I think it looks great now. I don't think there's any point. I don't think there's any improvements can be made. The only improvement that can be made now is the stuff growing up it. Just wait for those, and once they cover it, the whole section should be covered in a green wall. It should look really nice. But remember, when you build these things, you've got to look at these areas for quite some time before the plants actually do their stuff. So that's why I use things like these. I use them as climbing frames as well. This kind of look. And don't forget, I have this as well on the top, and everything there should be covered eventually in roses, clematis, ivy, etc, etc. And hopefully over time that should look good. This is the Polo. You remember when I put this up with a bit of an effort putting that in, but it's been worth it. So when it gets, remember when this is clothed, so once all this wall is clothed in whatever's growing up there, which in this case is roses, and you can't hardly see, you'll still always see a little bit of the woodwork. But what we shall do is keep that window clear, and it'll encourage you to walk up and look through, and then you get these views. I need to clean this glass really, but this is what you get. So it adds interest, and I like looking through this. And once that brickwork goes onto the floor there, it's just going to be so much better. It's just going to set it off a treat. So there you go. I think that's enough for tonight. We'll go back to where we started, and it's just the area that really I got a bit carried away, haven't I, again, as I always do. I wanted to show you my working area because it's, like I said, it's an area that I don't really show you. Well, come back. Here we go. This is Crataegus. I think it's Laeviator or something like that, and it's called Paul Scarlet, or supposedly it's supposed to be Paul Scarlet, and this catches your eye from up at the house. Just thought I'd stop and show you that. Really nice. Really nice. Anyway, so yeah, so this is the orchard, and this is where I've been spending most of my day today, in this area, and it's looking good, and I'm quite pleased with that border. It looks really nice now, and over time that'll develop and hopefully cloak that area a bit. There are other things I'm going to do to that area to disguise it a little bit on the top, maybe put a fence up and all that kind of jazz. We'll get that sorted out so it doesn't look as messy. That's part of the reason I put that there. But yeah, this is a working area, so we'll end it where I started it. It's nice having these little snicket throughs. You can stand here and nobody knows you're here. And there we go. That's the back of Grossley Bottom. I never show usually. There you go. Side Ranger. He's looking really good. It's the climbing hydrangea, doing really well. I don't have to do anything to that one. I just leave it alone. Really, it could have been in a better position in the garden, but I wanted to cloak this wall a little bit, and it's looking great. It will look great over time. So there we go. We'll end it there. I'll talk to you on the next one. Ta-da.